Alright, so welcome back to Game Escape. Here today to show you guys a game, if you want to call it that, a product that I just heard about a few weeks ago and was extremely excited to get my hands on, and that is the Sega Genesis Classics Hub for Steam. And this is a front end for their emulated games on Steam in the form of a 90s bedroom. So this is an idea that I was talking about for a while. I always thought that in order to compete with free emulation, that publishers were going to have to give you something more. And one of the things I suggested was an appeal to nostalgia. So when I heard Sega was going to do something like this, I absolutely had to check it out. So you can see the 90s bedroom, and you've got your TV, you've got obviously your Genesis, controllers, speakers, some posters, and let's take you guys through the settings here. So you have your room settings. The nice thing about the room settings, click on this. You can set the quality to fantastic and VSync. You can hide the labels. Languages, nothing out of the ordinary. It has, if we go back up here, it has a time of day. It has a night-day cycle. I kind of like that, so I'm going to leave it there. Audio settings, nothing too spectacular. Game volume, UI volume, ambient volume. I'm actually going to turn the game volume down just for a little bit for the sake of this recording. I'll leave it there. Go back. And then here are the games. Now, every game in those Sega packs released to Steam is actually available to play. I just purchased this one this morning because I wanted to try this hub. Otherwise, I didn't really have a ton of excitement for playing these games on Steam. Obviously, have the Retron 5, have the original hardware. You can see they have mods. Now, you're automatically subscribed to mods for all these games, but since this is really the first day and really the first 5 or 6 hours of this launch, I have not found any mods. Before we fire up a game, let's just see what else we have. TV. Obviously, you can load or save a game. You can set it to full screen. I actually kind of like having the look of the television, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But if you go into console settings, here you have your basic emulator settings. If you click to start in full screen, you will kind of lose the look of the room. But since I think that's the highlight, I'm going to leave that on. You can add scan lines. You can have this filtering. And TV projection basically determines how much of a curve your television screen has. So if you want the old style tube TV, well, I'm going to set it to set it right there for now, and then we'll play around with that when we get into a game. Once you have a cartridge in there, you can just click X to eject. Input options. Now, this is where the game has a little bit of a drawback. I bought this as soon as I woke up in the morning. I get up at 5 a.m., so I had bought these games basically before I had breakfast because I was so excited about seeing what this product was like, and it hadn't launched. By the way, there's your credits. So, I got all of these, and I just was able to play them, and at that point I was playing them with my Xbox One controller. Worked out okay. When I came home, I noticed that Steam had updated, and the Xbox One controller was no longer working. It seemed not to register, or it would just seemed to always scan to the left, so you couldn't actually use the room. It also has a mouse control, by the way. The mouse control wasn't working, so the hub was unusable with the Xbox One controller. I saw on the Steam threads that a lot of controllers just aren't working. The only controller that is working is the good old Xbox 360 controller, which I think, as many of us would agree, is the absolute worst controller to play emulated games with. So, also, I had to change the button layout. The C button was mapped to the right bumper, which kind of meant that to jump, you'd always have to click the right bumper. It was really irritating, so I just switched it Before we get in, just look at the detail here. You got the Sonic rug, you've got the Echo the Dolphin plush, or whatever you want to call that. You've got the beanbag chair that we used to have in the 90s. I had one of those. In my room, you've got the comics, the Sonic comics. I was hoping for a Mega Play or something down there, but you get the Sonic comics, sort of toys on the floor, the old soda cup from the movie theaters back then. So, really nice, really simple. It's not world-shattering, but I think it's the right atmosphere. So let's fire up a game, a couple games actually. Go to the shelf, circle through, go with Gunstar Heroes. It automatically saves at certain points, or you can just pause and create your own save state. So we will go there. Nice little animation. And here we are, Gunstar Heroes. Gunstar Heroes, not one of my favorite games. I mean, technically brilliant, but just not one that I gravitated to. I had a friend who got it shortly after it was launched, and then I rented it at least once, maybe twice, and that was the last time I played it, so I'm not really that great. But yeah, you can see that little geometry of the screen. Runs well. I have noticed that there is a slight bit of slowdown, and I don't know if that is down to it's supposed to be an accurate emulation, although played a lot of Streets of Rage 2, and it slowed down at parts that I don't remember in the actual game. But I mean, it's nothing that's going to detract from your enjoyment. So here see a little bit of slowdown there. I have the room set to fantastic, but I don't know that necessarily affects the frame rate of the game. I shut off my frame rate counter, but it was hovering really at 60. Sometimes it dropped to 59, but it was mostly at 60. So there's Gunstar Hero. So you want to switch a game, you just hold the select button, and you're back in the room. And what you can do is eject the cartridge. I don't care about saving that. I'll go back to it later. And I'm not going to fire up one of these RPGs. The reason I got this one is because I wanted Shining Force 2. I just bought Shining Force last summer, but Shining Force 2 is probably one that's quite expensive. Alien Soldier. Never played Alien Soldier, never played Landstalker. Played or have everything else on here. I'll go with Streets of Rage. So, we'll load this save. And it fires right back up. Haven't really perfected Streets of Rage 1. Streets of Rage 1 was certainly a rental for me, but Streets of Rage 2 is the game that I fell in love with. Did a review of that. So you can see, pretty nice. Actually, before we start this up again, let's go into the emulator settings and show you what things look like with, if we take the TV projection down, accept, and go back to the screen, you'll see that a little bit flatter, kind of has that Trinitron look. I could have sworn I beat this guy already. And shoot. I think I've exhausted my cop attack car, so we have that. Now let's stick the projection up. Let's do the following here. Back out. Go into the settings and take the projection all the way up. Go back. Oh, no, I don't want the credits. And you'll see it once this level starts up. You can't actually change your distance from the television. It's pretty much framed like this. And as you can see, that's a little too much of a curve for me. Now, I will show you guys what it's like. I'll just pop out of here again. And go back into the settings. Show you what the full screen... Well, there's pure full screen where it'll fit your display. But then they have kind of like a framed full screen that keeps the aspect ratio. We'll probably have to do that. We'll probably have to restart with that. So let's do that again. You know, I'm going to save this. Do that. And again, very easy here. So we just come back down, eject, and do Alien Soldier. So see if this full screen deal actually, yeah. So this is what it kind of looks in that framed full screen. Again, you can force a pure full screen look. Alright, so this is a side-scrolling shooter. Okay, do that. Trying to hit start. And nothing's happening. But anyway, you can have it fill your entire screen. Unfortunately, I have the ultra wide, so it doesn't really look that good. I don't know what I'm doing here. The buttons aren't... There we go. So this is a little bit like Gunstar Heroes, I guess. I don't know. I kind of prefer the TV look to it. So, strange here. The control's not the best on this one. Like every time I shoot, I'm being sucked to one portion of the screen. But anyway, same deal. Hold X, pop out, and come down, eject the cartridge, and you're good to go. So I'm excited about this. I kind of think it's certainly, once there's a Steam sale, I'm going to fill up the library. I think there's some interesting things they can do with it, like run some old Sega commercials on the television. I'm just going to switch back out of the settings. I think they can probably integrate some social aspects to this. Of course, you have online multiplayer, you have the mods, but I could see them. One of the things I thought, and I suggested this for when I talked about Nintendo, you know, come out with like an in-game magazine and have fans contribute to it or put the codes in there, talk about the latest mods, things like that. I think this is a step forward, step in the right direction. Again, very buggy in the sense that you can only use the Xbox 360 controller, which is a real hit, at least on day one. I think they're going to correct that. They've already started, the devs have started a thread for you to report issues on Steam. This is not, by the way, VR ready, although I could see them moving in that direction. I could probably see them monetizing the room, you know, get different posters, furniture, things like that. So a lot of potential here, and it's really where I want to see emulation going. I mean, could you imagine maybe having a PC Engine, TurboGrafx 16, or you know, an actual arcade, SNK arcade, something like that. So hope this is successful. Want it to continue. I'm going to give a full review of it on the Retro Critical podcast. Also talk about it in connection with the Sega 3D Classics series on the Nintendo 3DS. How does it stack up to those releases? But yeah, just a quick tour of the Sega Game Room. A cautious recommendation, but something with a lot of potential. Thanks for watching. And I will be back shortly with another video.